Lads, welcome back to the Kosi Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news. We are here every day at 7 p.m. Make sure you catch the time. One video every day, 7 p.m. Don't miss out. We're going to be talking about Mikel Arteta's response to transfer questions. A few days left to the closure of the window, and he has said we are working on it. We are working on getting in an attacker. It's not easy, but he says without Saka and without Gabriel Jesus, the team is light. The team doesn't have options and it lacks quality. So we are working on a new attacker. Be patient. David Ornstein as well has confirmed that Arsenal are likely to sign one player before the end of the window, but he doesn't know who it's going to be because Cunha is really expensive, £75 million, and also Benjamin Shesco is not leaving, according to sources in Germany, but also the words of the manager from RB Leipzig. What's going to happen? We are going to find out in this video. There's a lot to talk about in regards to Shesco and Cunha. That's where Arsenal's interest has been and focus as well. But could we see a late surprise in the window where Arsenal don't sign Shesco, Arsenal don't sign Cunha, but eventually end up with someone very different? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know in the comment box below. Do you want Shesco? Do you want Cunha? Personally, I prefer Cunha to Shesco. I kind of feel like Shesco is an overhyped average player, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment box below. So Mikel Arteta has been speaking ahead of our game versus Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League today, and he was asked about a couple of questions, Benjamin White and the injury update, and he said Benjamin White is very close to coming back. But when it came to transfers, that is where things actually became very interesting. So he was asked about the options we have in attack, especially whether we're going to add someone in January. Are we going to bring in someone on loan? Are we going to terminate Raheem Sterling or Neto's loans to bring in someone on loan? All those questions. And he said, listen, we are not going to terminate Raheem Sterling's contract. We're not going to terminate Neto's contract as well. They're going to stay as Arsenal players until the end of the campaign. So Raheem Sterling stays until the end of the campaign. For me, it makes a lot of sense that he stays, given the fact that we are already very short in terms of numbers in attack. So if you let go of, I mean, he's not in form. He's not given us the quality that we would have thought a player who worked with Mikel Arteta would have brought in. But in terms of numbers, you can point to Raheem Sterling and say, hey, we have Raheem Sterling on the right wing, we have Nwaneri on the right wing, we have Trossard and Martinelli on the left wing, and probably Kai Havertz down through the middle. And that's why Arsenal are focusing on getting in a number 9 as per latest information than just going for a general forward or, going for a winger. Because Mikel Arteta feels Saka is closer to coming back. You have Raheem Sterling there. You have Ethan Nwaneri, who was really good when he played on the right wing. So could we see Arsenal just go for a forward? That is what we are, hearing in the corridors of the biggest publications. Now, Mikel Arteta still talking about the activity taking place at Arsenal. He was asked about what we are really doing, in the market, and he said, if you look at our squad, if you look at our attack, we lost Gabriel Jesus, we lost Bukayo Saka, and that is why we are working on something. We are working on a deal. He said, if a right opportunity manifests itself, if we get the right player, the right opportunity, we are going to be going for such a player. Now, of course, the January transfer window is a tricky one. Manchester City have signed Omar Mamouche, and for me, I will blame Arsenal at some point in time in this video. And the reason that's why I'm going to do that, if you're waiting for the right player, you know that your long-term targets, you know that the right player, the so-called right players, are never available in January. And that was reported by Sami Makpo a couple of days ago. I think, it's just even hours. And he said Arsenal's targets are actually still in the UEFA Champions League. So no UEFA Champions League club is going to give you their player in January. I mean, the further they go in the competition, the more money they make, right? So for me, I think Arsenal have failed to be flexible. We have done a PR move where we've signed Martin Zubimendi. That was good, but that was just PR. we needed to be flexible like Manchester City. I doubt that Manchester City was sitting in their boardroom and they said, we are going to sign Omar Mamouche. But Mamouche has been on fire. He's been on form at entering Frankfurt. And Manchester City have realized that. And they've said, listen, if you guys are willing to sell at 75 million euros, we are willing to jump onto the opportunity. We are willing to jump onto the signing of Omar Mamouche. And that's what Arsenal did with Ricardo Calafiori. We saw him at the Euros. We were impressed. We wanted Murillo and Hato as primary targets. We didn't get them because we thought Ricardo Calafiori is a market opportunity. What happened to Kavice Kvaratskhelia being a market opportunity? What happened to Omar Mamouche being a market opportunity? I kind of feel like Arsenal are stuck on we want the right player, and they have forgotten that January is about being flexible and taking advantage of the opportunities that have actually manifested. So Mikel says that we are working on a forward. We are really, really working. We are short. He recognizes that. We are, we need players, right? In terms of options, we are really lacking, and they're also lacking in terms of quality. But who is that player going to be? I have no idea because of this. So when it comes to the players that we actually want, it's Shesco and Matheus Cunha. Those are the two players that Arsenal have been reportedly close to. I mean, in terms of personal terms, agreeing, in terms of, doing groundwork deal, it's been Cunha, it's been Shesco this January. So to give you the latest on Cunha and Shesco, a little bit disappointing, but that's why I'm reporting just once a day to give you accurate news. When it comes to Cunha, the manager at Wolverhampton Wanderers has just come out, that's Pereira. He's come out and said, we are very, very certain that he's going to stay. He's actually focused on staying at Wolverhampton Wanderers, and he's focused on beating Arsenal this weekend. Now, if you're a manager, we know that your words don't mean much at times. But think about this. Wolverhampton Wanderers have just brought in this guy in order to save their season. Why? Why would they sell the best assets at the club, yet they brought in a new manager who expects to be backed? It wouldn't make sense. And still, if they wanted to sell him, they wouldn't be pushing to get him on a new deal. They wouldn't be improving the terms and conditions, and they wouldn't be willing to put a release clause in the player's contract, given the fact that that is what he wants. So they wouldn't go through all that trouble if they wanted to sell. So my understanding is that Wolverhampton Wanderers feel with a few days left to the end of the transfer window, probably 7, probably 8, they feel they are in a position of power to keep Matheus Cunha. Now, that could change. If Arsenal table around 60 to 75 million, we might see, the resolve of, Wolves weakening a little bit. I mean, you've got to test them, but are they willing to sell? Possibly at the moment, no. Ghana Blog was speaking about the situation on Matheus Cunha. Very, very reliable. James Nicholas working with the Athletic. And he said at the moment, Arsenal want Cunha. They understand, he understands that there is interest in Cunha, but a deal is very, very difficult this January. It's going to cost in excess of 70. Actually, for him, he says 70 plus, right? And we're talking about pounds. We're not talking about euros. The only reason as to why Wolverhampton Wanderers have said we will sell at 70 is because they've realized if we sell Cunha right now, who do we bring in? Probably no one. We don't have enough time. So it's either at a premium or he stays and he works for the right amount of money in the summer. So with Matheus Cunha, if you're asking me, Kosi, what is the latest on Matheus Cunha? Wolves don't want to sell. The manager has said that they are looking to keep him and he's committed to the club. And also, James Nicholas with the Athletic is saying Cunha will cost Arsenal over 70, which is a bit of a premium and an overpay. So with Shesco, things are not even much better there. The manager, I think, at RB Leipzig, after their UEFA Champions League game, went to his press conference and said, we are not expecting to sell him. He's gonna stay here until the end of the season. One of the bosses at RB Leipzig as well has been speaking about it, and he said, listen, we are not in contact. We have not received any formal bids from any club for Benjamin Shesco, and we don't want any bids. We don't want to sell. If you put that information to use and you're not a deluded fan, you understand what it means, don't you? It means that Shesco is more likely to stay at RB Leipzig. It also means that Cunha is more likely to stay at Wolves. Actually, James McNicholas as well, yesterday in his article for The Athletic, did talk about Shesco, and he said he's a player Arsenal have followed for quite some time. He's a player that Arsenal really have interest in. We wanted him in 2024, we want him in 2025, and I won't be surprised, personally, if we get him in the summer. So James McNicholas says the interest is there, but the conditions for him to move in January are really difficult. It's gonna cost a king's ransom, and I don't think Arsenal are really ready to pay 80 million for Benjamin Shesco. So what that truly means, although Mikel Arteta has just said that there is a lot of interest and there's a lot of work we are doing on the market, it means that the targets that we are looking at might not be accessible and available. So do we go for a loan deal outside the Premier League, overseas, possibly, or do we go for another target, another market opportunity? I have not seen so many market opportunities apart from Omar Lamouche and Kavita Kvaratskhelia, but let's wait and see if Arsenal are going to do something very surprising. Now, David Ornstein, my boy from The Athletic as well, has been speaking about the Arsenal attack. And I want us to make a lot of sense from what he has said, because it points to Mikel Arteta's priorities and it kind of brings out what Arsenal are trying to do. We'll start off with the confirmation that he thinks and he believes, and he has credible information, that Arsenal will bring in at least one signing in January in the remaining days of the window. He just doesn't know who it's gonna be. That is David Ornstein. He says they are working behind the scenes on a signing. They want to get someone in. We just don't know who it's gonna be. I mean, I don't know as well. If David doesn't know, Fabrizio doesn't know, then probably nobody knows. But just to make sense of that statement, what I think is gonna happen with Arsenal is this. We have kind of looked at the market. We have, scoured the market. We've looked at market opportunities, and we have kind of led ourselves to believe that there is no player that would improve our squad. Now, whether that is true or not, don't attack me. I'm just giving you what I've found. Because if the manager has always been singing throughout January, we don't have enough players, we don't have a good squad, and the board has not acted, it means one or two things. Either Mikel Arteta asked for players and he did get them, which I highly doubt with the level of backing that the Cronkies have actually shown towards his project, or the manager has not seen any right opportunities to invest money in, which again I highly doubt when Omar Lamouche and Kavita Kvaratskhelia have been available. So are we just avoiding to pay premium prices? Are we avoiding to pay a lot of money? Possibly. That could be a reason I could think of. But what is interesting today is that David Ornstein has come out and said that Arsenal are still following the trade of Alexander Isak. And he has actually said, I don't want to annoy Newcastle fans, but there's going to be a lot of noise between now and the end of the summer when it comes to Arsenal and Alexander Isak. Now, he says Mikel Arteta is a big fan of Alexander Isak, and he nearly signed him towards before leaving Sociedad for Newcastle. He nearly signed him. We didn't know about that one. I didn't know about that one, but he says he nearly signed him before he moved to Newcastle. So it means that if Arsenal, once again, Arsenal are looking at Cunha and Shesco as easy targets for January, but the real striker we want is Alexander Isak. And that's why I'm going to ask you a question. Would you rather Arsenal sign no striker, no one, until the summer and then sign Isak? Or would you rather Arsenal give up on Isak and sign Benjamin Shesco or Cunha, or both of them, depending on the time and funds we have, and also Mikel Arteta's ideology? So on Stein says Isak is the one that they want. Isak is on top of the list, and there's going to be a lot of noise. Arsenal's still going to try and get him. Sami Makbo and his outlet, the Daily Mail, are saying Arsenal won't be able to afford Isak. However, there are terms and conditions there. Isak wants UCL football. He wants Champions League football. So if they can't give him Champions League football, is there a possibility that Arsenal gets him because Newcastle don't have UCL? There is a big possibility. So what are the general expectations out of this episode? Like I said, 7 p.m. every day. Make sure you do tune in same time. The expectation for me is that we're going to see Arsenal do something, but it's not going to be something wow. I don't expect Arsenal to do Shesco or Cunha. I won't be surprised if we end up with a signing. You remember the Kiwior signing? Something like that. I think one thing will happen, but it won't be glittering and as beautiful as we want it to be. Hit the button, subscribe to the channel as well. My name is Kossi. We are here every day. One video at 7 p.m. Don't miss it. If you miss it, it's completely gone. See you soon.